People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
It was an impassioned speech, but one of those who most needed to hear it wasn't in the audience. President Donald Trump wasn't due to attend the UN summit.
I'm a big believer in clean air and clean water, and all countries should get together and do that, and they should do it for themselves.
Trump made a surprise appearance, but only stayed to listen to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
Germany makes up 1% of the world's population and 2% of global emissions. If everyone on the planet were to act as we do, emissions would double, and everyone is more than aware of what this means. Therefore, we want, by 2030, to reduce our CO2 emissions by 55%, compared with levels in 1990. And in 2050, we want to be climate neutral.
Und im Jahre 2050 klimaneutral zu sein.
Germany's Chancellor has been buffing her green credentials, sharing a picture of her meeting Thunberg on Instagram. But the climate activist and other young campaigners have named Germany and 4 other countries in a landmark complaint to the UN that says inaction on climate change amounts to a violation of children's human rights. Thunberg and her allies can only leave the summit hoping that the world's leaders have got the message.
Well, DW's Alexander Phenomen was at the summit and spoke with Jennifer Morgan. She's the executive director of Greenpeace International, for her take on the promises.
The UN Climate Summit has ended with more than 60 countries promising to do more to combat climate change. Do you think that this is an encouraging signal?
I think it's encouraging when any country says we're going to do more, but we need every country to do more. And then more needs to be well defined. We need to have emissions by 2030, and that's the details really matter here. There's so much more to do.
Many leaders say that they would do more, but they have to think about job security and economic growth. Do you think that they have a point?
I think they're missing the point. So 2 things. One is the cost of the climate change impacts on economies, I think, is not very well calculated into the debate. How much agricultural loss there will be, the air pollution costs as well. That's one piece. And the other is that actually the countries that are going to innovate and move to a zero carbon economy are the ones that are going to have the markets for the future. So those that are holding back on cars, for example, like Germany, they're going to miss out on the markets for the renewable electric vehicles.
Angela Merkel was one of the speakers who addressed the summit today, pledging to contribute more money to combat climate change. And Germany was always seen as a sort of champion when we talk about climate change action. Is this still the case?
Unfortunately, not anymore. People here, especially the most vulnerable countries, they understand that Germany's missing its target, that the climate package that was put on the table will not get Germany to meet that target, let alone do more. They need to double down. They need to come back with a much stronger plan, the Chancellor does, by the December climate COP in order to have that credibility back.
Thank you so much.